Hi, Taurus Rising. Here is your weekly forecast starting on the 27th of May until 31st of May. So, welcome back to my channel. We are stepping into quite a busy 4 days between May 27th to May 31st. For you, this week represents a transition from behind the scene preparation to more of a realignment of your income, your daily work environment, and your deep psychological freedom. As a Taurus rising, you generally prefer stability, predictability, knowing exactly where you stand. But lately, you might have felt like there is an undercurrent of pressure building up in the dark. You might feel like you have been cleaning out old psychological closets or dealing with anxieties that you can't quite pin down. But this week, that internal pressure finally should start its outlet. We have a story unfolding day by day that is going to force you to look at your financial boundaries, change the way you value your physical resources, confront a deeply buried subconscious block, map out a brilliant master plan for your daily routine and career. So let's look at exactly how this week unfolds. Starting on 28th of May, because we have got a bit of an astrological break on the 27th. The story begins with a tension that directly tests your mindset. Your chart ruler Venus is currently cruising through your third house, the house of communication, local networks, daily dialogue. Venus here wants peaceful interaction, comforting conversations, to feel emotionally connected to your immediate surroundings. But on this day, Venus forms a harsh square to Saturn, which is sitting in your hidden psychological 12th house. So this is a clash between your everyday mindset and your deepest subconscious boundaries or your hidden fears. You might try to pitch an idea, have a casual conversation, or seek reassurance from your immediate circle. And instead, you are met with the cold wall of delay. Your own internal self-criticism flares up. You potentially can be doubting yourself whether it's worth kind of like talking to you or speaking up about your own emotions. Alternatively, it might be a financial reality check, or a hidden expense could pop up, forcing you to look at where your daily habits are draining your energy or your resources. Now, you might be wondering why finances. Well, Venus is a financial planet to start with, but the 12th house is the expenditure house. Saturn in your 12th house acts as a strict psychological auditor. It is forcing you to look at your blind spots. This transit is asking you, are you using like busy daily chatter or superficial communication to avoid dealing with a deeper underlying reality? If you experience a delay or a sense of isolation today, don't push against the door. This is Saturn telling you to quiet that external noise, audit your internal state, and realize that true mental peace requires you to set firm boundaries against subconscious self-sabotage. Um, Transit series enters your second house. One Saturn forces you to clear out the mental clutter and stop avoiding the deeper reality. The cosmos immediately hands you a massive tool to rebuild your tangible security. So on May 29th, asteroid Ceres leaves your first house, the house of identity, and enters Gemini, stepping directly into that second house of earned income, personal values, self-worth, material resources. For the past several weeks, your sense of nurturing was all about your personal presentation. It was all about self-care, really. But now, the way you feed your sense of security is going to become the spotlight. And it has been going on right for a little while because the sun is already in the sign of Gemini. Mercury is in the sign of Gemini, not to mention Uranus as well. And in the upcoming month, Uranus will be squaring the nodes as well. So your entire month is going to be about second house feelings. And Ceres is joining the clubs here as well, which is about feeding your mind, looking at potentially new ways of making finances, basically. I think you might start noticing a drive to diversify how you make money. Series represents growth, so your mindset is going to be feeding the mind so that you can have that growing mindset. Sometimes it's all about the mind, right? If we have got, let's say, a positive attitude, if we know that we have got a talent, and then if we push against the wall, actually, eventually the results should be coming around. Sticking to a single rigid source of income or a slow-moving financial plan might become frustrating or simply it's just not going to work out. This is a little bit about diversifying this house here. I think let's brainstorm new offers, learn practical financial strategies, or monetize a skill that involves writing, speaking, teaching, and so forth. And then series should start bringing extra income into your pocket. Let's say if you're a content creator or an entrepreneur or a professional astrologer, this is a beautiful ingress actually. It tells you that your wealth is sustained right now through dialogue and versatility. That's what Gemini is all about. Look at your business and ask how you can create little bite-sized, accessible offers or educational resources. The only warning here is to avoid scattering your financial energy. Don't chase five different shiny objects at once. Focus on quality, practical data that actually builds sustainable value. Now, still on the 29th, let me actually shift the day for you. We have got Chiron moving on to energetic degree in your 12th house. So while Ceres was transforming your relationship with money, on the very same day, we hit an intense, monumental kind of finish line. Chiron, the wounded healer, reaches that absolute final critical 29 degree of Aries, sitting right in your 12th house, the house of subconscious, hidden enemies, deep psychological processing. Now, Chiron, since 2018, has been tucked away in this kind of solitary house for you, uncovering old wounds related to deep-seated feelings, inadequacy, fears of being unseen, or survival patterns where you felt completely unsupported and left to fend for yourself in the dark. And at this 29th energetic degree, this energy reaches an absolute bottleneck. This is like your psychological final exam. I think you are going to be experiencing a sudden flare up of old irrational fear or a deep sense of like imposter syndrome. A memory or a situation might trigger that familiar 12th house feeling of being helpless or trapped by outside circumstances. But in the past, you might have suppressed this pain or hidden away from it or even from the world. But Chiron says here that the medicine is realizing that that ghost in the closet has no actual power. So, therefore, the next 3, 4 weeks is a little bit more about breakthroughs, where you stop fighting unseen battles. You step out of your own way. You realize that you have the absolute power to heal your own psyche. You are potentially permanently closing the door on self-sabotaging loops, allowing you to step into full authority over your inner world. Still on the 29th or 30th, both of them, on the 29th, Hera enters Virgo, which is your fifth house, and Circe enters your fourth house. So we've done the subconscious ghosts kind of getting rid of moment. Hopefully you started reclaiming your inner peace. Now look at that the external energy is there to support your creative and personal life. So with Hera moving into Virgo, the house of creativity, joy, and self-expression, because it's your fifth house, it's the asteroid of partnership. So it can help you with creative collaborations or getting the romantic expectations a bit kind of cleaner. Maybe you say that, you know what, I don't want to be part of any type of drama. I don't want any type of unpredictable energy. I just want to know, is there a functional, efficient system to bring my creative vision to life? So therefore, this might be a perfect time to organize your content calendars, tweak your artistic systems, clear up expectations with creative partners, children, with romantic partners also. Then see Sir K enters Leo, pretty much lighting up your fourth house, the house of home, family, and inner sanctuary. Sir K represents that natural magnetism and persuasion. So while it was in your third house, your influence was very verbal. Now it moves into Leo, your fourth house. The magic center is your private domain. So this might be transforming your living space into more of a premium, inspiring environment. You might be able to persuade your family, for example, of relocating, moving together with someone, and so forth. It also feels like that you might be able to, or you start working on your confidence a little bit, and then you start radiating from inside out. And therefore, you start feeling safer. Maybe you are celebrated. Maybe you're going to start being more deeply anchored. Now, back to your second house. It's on the 31st of May. Out of bound Mercury is making a sextile to Chiron in your 12th house. While um, Sun in Gemini sextiling Pallas Athene in your 12th house also. So it's a bit of a grand finale, really, because with that Mercury, which is flying completely out of bounds in its home sign, right in your second house, the house of income and values. So there's a financial intellect there that is operating completely outside the box, free from any type of constraint and traditional way of thinking. So Mercury sextiling to that pressurized Chiron at 29 degrees, it feels like that you are going to be able to start speaking up about you are able to become more vulnerable. Maybe you have been stressed about money or feeling blocked about your career path. And then a sudden flash of genius is going to hit you today. Because Mercury is out of bound. It bypasses the logical stuff. It bypasses the skepticism, an unconventional thought, a random piece of financial data, an intuitive insight might be going to instantly hand you the exact operational fix to dissolve that 12th house worry. And you might want to write them down because they might be pure kind of gold. Not necessarily right now. Chiron is going to go back into the sign of Aries, but maybe in about a year time, it could be an absolute gold. Simultaneously, the sun in your second house is making that sextile to Pallas Athene, as well as trining Juno as well in your 10th house. So thanks to Pallas in your 12, it is about strategy. It is about seeing the patterns, the way you were raised, the way you self-sabotaged yourself in the past. And then we are able to see these patterns. So it leads to financial increase and it leads to potentially a contractual agreement. So this week could be a brilliant time for you to find a new job, for example, or you are ready to partner up with a professional person, a long-term client, attracting a long-term client as well. Or you are making industrial allies, for example, you are finding someone who is ready to back your vision. It's a super nice green light because it's a mini grand trine, really, for securing long-term contracts, optimizing a career system, and also getting your finances a little bit more stabilized as well. The Mercury enters Cancer on the very same day. And, it was a very fast Mercury before. It was read. It was thinking outside of the box, kind of solving certain type of financial problem, but it starts softening a little bit. Your focus naturally shifts from calculating numbers to processing how you communicate your values, how to sell a product. You take all that strategic insight and share it through relatable, kind of heartfelt communication. This is also about resting your nervous system a little bit, and therefore you might decide to reconnect with your family or to go on a short trip to kind of rest the mind, because most likely you have worked on a lot of stuff, even though it was behind the scene and it's not necessarily that visible for others, but your mind looks like have been operating, has been racing basically. Doing the internal work, and the extra heavy lifting for a while is often more tiring than going and doing a 16-hour shift, for example, at a restaurant. So this week is about balancing up your budget, clearing out subconscious shadows. Let's build a blueprint for success, standing firm in your worth, and then this week should be a great week. Thank you so much for watching. Share your financial and personal breakthroughs in the comments below, and I will see you in my very next forecast. Take care. Bye bye.